Hey guys, good morning. Ken here. I thought I'd do a little impromptu video this morning. I'm down here at the Port of Sayusla in my car, just waiting for the sun to come up, beginning to see some beautiful sunrise, light coming up. And this is what I do usually. I come down and I get a coffee from the local gas station, and I just sit here and enjoy my time in the morning before I have to actually go home and go to work. But I wanted to talk to you this morning about the reality of selling postcards on eBay. Okay, it is a viable business model. It is a very profitable, viable business model because you can make a lot of money. But anybody, and I challenge anybody to, dispute this. Anybody that tells you that's on YouTube or on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram that's, telling you that you can make a ton of money in 30 days selling postcards or whatever they're trying to sell you is probably lying to you. Okay? There's an old saying that I've lived by in years that if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And but too many people fall into those guru traps. I once watched a video on YouTube about some guy who had given into one of these gurus. Wasn't selling postcards, but he gave into one of these gurus, and he had invested close to $50,000 before he realized he was being scammed. And he finally got out of it, thank God. But, now he has to pay back all that money. But see, the thing is, selling postcards is a very viable business model. I mean, think about it. You're buying postcards and for anywhere from 10 to 25 cents, 50 cents a piece, and then flipping them on eBay for a lot more money, like $10, $15, $20, $50 or whatever, depending on the, subject matter of the card. Okay, so the thing you need to realize, though, is it's not a get-rich-quick. I say this in my opening video on my YouTube channel, that if you're looking for a get-rich-quick, this ain't it, okay? You're wasting your time thinking that you can make tens of thousands of dollars within 30 days selling postcards, okay? It's a numbers game. The more listings you get on your eBay store, in your eBay store, on your eBay account, the more chances you're going to have of people actually, buying your postcards. It's just a numbers game. And, usually the people that are making really good money have like 20 to 30,000 listings in their eBay store. I'm not even there yet. Okay, right now I got about 3,800. And I'm just getting now to the point where I'm making sales just about every day. Not every day, but just about every day. And the thing is, like I said, don't fall for these people, these experts that claim that you can make all this money selling postcards. One of the traps a lot of new people fall into with selling postcards is you go after the rare cards. You might find some rare cards on occasion, but the thing is, even with the rare cards, okay, the high-end dollar cards, the ones that sell for $50, $100, $200, $500, $1,000, whatever, okay, even with those, that requires a very special buyer, usually a collector, okay, because the average person is not going to buy a card off you, a piece of cardboard off you for $150 or $300 or $500, $1,000. They're just not going to do it. Okay, it's going to take a collector to do that. And that means even if you get your hands on some high-end cards, you may or may not, usually not, sell them within a short period of time. That card may sit in your store for years before the right buyer comes along. Most of people that I've seen that are selling postcards on eBay, like myself, are dealing mostly in the common cards, the everyday cards, what they call the bread and butter cards. Okay, and, that's why they sell on a regular basis, because they sell anywhere from, my cards sell anywhere from $4.75 to $20. Okay? I mean, I have had one occasion a year ago where I sold a card that I bought in a lot here locally. I paid like $10 for 150 cards. And in that lot was a card that was dated out of 1903. It was a real photo postcard. And I had a collector in New York buy it off me for $50. But that's the most expensive card I've ever sold. Okay, and I usually don't go after the high-end cards because the more money you're looking to get for your cards, the more opportunity you're going to run into scammers trying to scam you out of that card to where they all they have to do is buy the card off you and then write eBay and say, hey, I thought this was an original. This is a copy. It's a fake. I want my money back. I've been scammed. And eBay would just give them their money back. And then they may or may not even have to return the card to you. And then they've got their card, your card, and their money. Or if they have to return a card to you, then usually they go down to the local store, buy a card for 25 cents, and they mail it to you. And then you got to go through eBay and go through legal, and it's a mess. So, for me, okay, if I get high-end cards every once in a while, that's great. But I'm pretty much sticking to the middle-of-the-road, average, everyday cards that sell on a regular basis that people are interested in. And that's where I'm getting the consistent sales. Now, selling postcards is just like any other eBay business, whether you're selling postcards or anything else, right? You've got to treat it like a real business. Okay, now I'm not saying that you need to jump off a cliff and go quit your job and, sell postcards full-time, unless you really are ready to do that. My situation was a little different. I got injured on my job to where I couldn't return anymore. I went through 4.5 months of physical therapy to learn how to walk again. And then I couldn't return back to my job because it required heavy lifting and I just couldn't do it. So that's when I decided to go full-time as a photographer at the time. And now, because of COVID and everything, and in my opinion, the market is kind of dried up in that respect, I'm doing postcards on eBay. But the thing is, you've got to treat it like a real business. Whether you do it full-time, part-time, or wherever, okay? You've got to put your head down and go to work every day, all right? Now, if you work a full-time job, work it in the evenings. If you're tired, eat something, splash some water on your face, and go to work, okay? You may even have to, I hate to say this, but you may even have to sacrifice your weekends. You might not be able to go out, partying with your friends on the weekends because, you have to determine in your heart and in your mind how serious you are about bringing this to a full-time income to where you can basically tell your boss to go pound sand, where you can walk away from your full-time employment if that's what you want to do. Now, some people, they like their jobs. They have fun. They get paid good money. They're going to retire and get that pension, and then they're going to go full-time with eBay. You can do it any way you want. I'm just saying that the reality is, even with selling postcards, it's a numbers game. The more listings you have up on eBay, the more chances you are going to have to make sales, but you've got to put in the work, okay? I know that's a 4-letter word that most people don't like, especially younger people these days. They just have this entitlement-minded mindset that feels like they're just entitled to everything, and they just kind of, feel like they don't have to work. Well, good luck, You'll probably be working for somebody the rest of your life. But the thing is, if you're serious about making this a full-time income, in the beginning, you're going to have to put in the hours. You're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to even work when you don't feel like working. Because let's take it in the scenario as if you worked for a job, an employer. What would happen if you walked into your job and just felt and put your desk, your feet up on the desk, and you told your boss, well, I don't feel like working today. I'm just going to collect a paycheck and just sit here. They might say something to you like, okay, you can do that. And when you leave today, don't bother coming back because you're fired. Because they're not going to pay you a salary or an hourly rate or whatever if, you're not going to put in the work. So the thing with, running your own business, whether, like I said, whether it's full-time or part-time, I'm going to adjust my phone here. The reality is you don't have a boss, behind you saying, go to work. You've got to have that discipline to list new postcards, whether you want to or not. Now, you can take off a day. You can take 2 days off. You can do whatever you want. Okay? If you only want to run your business, let's say you can only run your business in the evenings and you want to give up weekend, you don't want to give up your weekends. Well, you'll still get there, okay? You just won't get there as fast as if you put more time in, okay? Because the more time you put into your business, into building your business, the faster you're going to get there. Now, when I say the faster you're going to get there, it doesn't mean that you're going to get there overnight, okay? You're going to get there over time, not overnight. You just got to keep that thought in your head. Now, if you don't have the patience to wait for years to do something like that, well, I can't help you, okay? Just don't get caught up in these get-rich-quick guru things, okay? I've seen so many people's lives destroyed by these people, and it's so hard to, I have seen a couple of occasions where people have actually taken them to court and sued them. I don't know how that turned out, but anyway, when you're starting in business, throw most of your income back into the business. In other words, buying more cards so you can sell more cards. And then when you eventually get to the place in your business where, it's pretty much self-sustaining, then you don't have to work as hard. It's kind of like an aircraft when it takes off. Big, what do they call them, an A380? Those big, huge monsters that are bigger than 747s. It takes 99% of their thrust from 4 engines to get that big, heavy thing off the ground. But once they get to cruising altitude, they cut back on the power about 75%, and they just cruise. Okay? But that's why I say, when you're building a business, you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to, when you don't feel like listing, that's the time you need to list. When you just don't feel like it, just kind of push through that. And once you start listing, you get into a little rhythm, and it won't be as bad. Okay, you may have to give up your weekends. Your friends will say, hey, how come you don't go out partying with us anymore? Because I'm trying to build a business. Okay, I'm trying to be successful at this. I'm trying to get to the point where I don't have to work for a boss anymore. It all depends on what you want to do and how fast you want to get there. Okay, just however you choose to do it is up to you. Okay, but realize that if you don't put in the work, if you don't put in the sacrifice, if you're not willing to try new things, if you're not willing to think outside the box, try some different things on eBay that you've never tried before. Recently, I just started doing promoted listings. Now, there's people on YouTube that swear against it. They said, don't ever use it. You're just giving eBay more money. Well, it's been helping my sales. That's all I can say. So, try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things. Try free shipping. I tried that for a while. Didn't work for me very well. I mean, it worked, but it didn't. So I went to $1 shipping. I charge everything for $1. Okay? That works for me. You've got to find out what works for you in your business. And just put your head down and go to work every day, just like you would a normal job. You're not going to have success probably in the beginning, but if you stick with it and you don't quit, and you just put your head down and go to work just like you would if you had to work for an employer, just treat it like a real business and not like a hobby, unless that's what you want. If you want it as a hobby, that's fine. But I'm saying if you really want to walk away from your job one day, you really want to get to the place where you can walk into your boss and say, you know what, I can't afford to work for you anymore because you don't pay me enough and I got to give my resignation. You're going to have to do the work at the beginning, and that's just the reality of it. And that's why I wanted to do this video, just to kind of maybe dispel some of the myths. Now I don't know if there's any gurus out there pushing courses on how to teach you how to sell postcards, but I know there's plenty of them out there trying to teach you how to get rich. And see, what they're not actually selling you is a product. They're selling you the dream. The dream of becoming financially independent. The dream of being your own boss. The dream of telling your boss to go pound sand or play in traffic or whatever. That's what they're selling you. Okay? And then, of course, on their website, they always have a disclaimer that says, no money back. No matter what. Once you buy it, you own it. And if you can't make it work, well, too bad. So sad. So I just want to encourage you today, if you're just getting started in postcards, stick with it. Years and years and years ago, I started in postcards and I stopped because I got caught up in other things. And if I had stuck with it, I'd be a lot further along than I am now. But I got back into it. I started in January of 2020 and it's going well. Every single year, my business has grown as far as profitability. Did I say that right? Profitability. But the thing, every single year, my business has grown. My income has gone up. Am I at the place where I want to be? Not yet. I've got certain high goals that I want to achieve for myself and my wife, but I'm not there yet. But when I'm finished with this video, I'm going to go home. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to start listing cards. Okay? And like I said, even if you have a full-time job, you can do it in the evenings. You can do it on the weekends. You may have to give that up. When my dad, before my mother is gone, but when my dad, he's like close to 89 years old now. But when I was growing up, my dad worked 3 jobs. Okay? 3. He worked a full-time job at his regular job he'd been at for years. He worked a part-time job. What was he doing? He worked a part-time job cleaning floors in buildings at night for 3 or 4 hours. And then he worked another part-time job on the weekends. I mean, he was working 7 days a week. So my mother wouldn't have to work, and so we could be provided for. Okay? That's the kind of sacrifice you may have to make when you run your own business. You're going to work harder at running your own business than you would working for an employer. If you're working for an employer, you may only have to show up at a job, punch a clock, work for 8 or 10 hours, and then go home. And maybe you have weekends off. I don't know. You're going to have a couple of days off somewhere. And you might get 1 or 2 weeks of vacation every year, but, that's what you're going to be doing the next 25 to 30 to 40 years of your life. And then let me tell you a secret. For those of you who think that you're just going to work all your time and then you're going to get this nice retirement pension thing at the end. It used to be years ago that you could do that, okay? But nowadays, companies can fire you for any reason at all. They could just come to you and say, hey, well, it's nothing personal. We're just downsizing and we're going to let you go. I know I talked to a lady back in Florida when we used to live in Florida. I talked to a lady one time who worked like 30, 35 years at a company, and she was like a week and a half away from retirement. Ugh, getting tired holding my phone here. Sorry. A week and a half away from retirement, to where she was looking forward to retirement and looking forward to getting her retirement pay and her pension and all that. They called her in a week and a half before she was supposed to retire, and they fired her. And they just said, well, it's nothing personal. We're just downsizing and you got to go. Sorry. So seniority meant nothing. They fired her. And she lost her entire pension. 35 years. They said, we'll give you a clock. It's like, what? Listen, if you want to work for somebody else the rest of your life, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be your own boss, if you want to be financially independent to where you don't have to depend on a boss, I don't worry about getting fired. The only way I can get fired is if I quit and go do something else. Okay? And I'm not saying that's going to work. That's not going to be the plan for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody. But the thing is, if you want to work towards that, then while you're working your full-time job, you're going to have to put your head down, go to work. You're going to have to work in the evenings. You're going to have to give up your weekends. The more you do that, the quicker you'll have, the more chance you'll have of getting there sooner, to where you can start enjoying the fruits of your labor and you don't have to work as hard. So I'm hoping what I've said today has encouraged you. Now, I can't speak for everybody. This may not be for you, okay? And trust me, I'm not trying to sell you some course on how to, make money in postcards for $2,000. I'm not going to ever do that. I do these YouTube videos to hopefully encourage you, share some things, share my journey with you, and I hope that encourages you to keep it on, go to work every day, list every day. If you want to take a day off, that's fine. You can do that, but, just realize that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to have to build over time, and that's the reality of it. I mean, even with a brick and mortar business, okay, they tell you that, like, if you open up a coffee shop or some fast food place, they tell you it's going to be 5 years before you see $1 profit. 5 years. And people with business mindsets, they realize that. They say, okay, it's going to take 5 years, and they accept that. Okay, well, it's no different from online. You're going to work harder at your online business than you ever had to work as for an employer. Because for them, you can just punch a clock and then you can go home. Okay, and you don't have to worry about anything. When you own your own business, when you run your own business, you're responsible for everything. The marketing, the advertising, the fulfillment. I mean, unless you're at a place in your business where you can afford to pay people to do it for you, which most people can't. I can't. It's just all on you. So I'm not saying that to discourage you. I'm saying that to encourage you that there are going to be things you're going to have to do as a business owner, and then there's going to be things you're not going to like to do. Nobody likes listing on eBay. I don't care who you are. Nobody just wants to get up every day and go, you know what, I can't wait to get listing. No, it's not going to happen that way. You just got to do some things. You know, even when you run your own business, you've got to do things that you don't want to do. It's just part of the game. So I want to encourage you today, if you're looking towards working towards, you know, building your own business to where one day you can just walk away from your full-time job, then keep doing that. It's going to take years. I'm not going to sit here and blow sunshine up your skirt. Okay, or make you any false promises. It's going to be hard work. It's going to take years. Okay. Now I'm going to leave you with this one thought. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it in the end. Okay. So I'm hoping that has encouraged you today. Let me know what you think in the comments. I got to go because I got to get back home and I got to get to listing. But you guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care, and bye for now.